What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in. It's 1TS Daily, live right here at One True Sport. How's it going? I'm your host, Zack Heydorn from Brass Ring Media and from Sports Illustrated. It's the Takedown. Super pumped to be here. Thank you for joining me. It's Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, and this is the place where you can come every single morning and talk the news of the day in pro wrestling, and we'll get you ready for your Wednesday and for your rest of the week here in the crazy wrestling world. If you are watching and listening on YouTube, hello, do me a favor, hit that like button. It really helps us grow, helps us with the old YouTube algorithm. It's a thing. Nobody wants it to be a thing, but it is one. So please help us out. That would mean a lot, and it would definitely just help grow the show and help get it where we need it to go. So appreciate you in advance for that. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, hello there. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks for being here. I've got the live chat open. This show is always the best when you guys get in that live chat and ask questions and make comments and argue a little bit. Friendly, of course. Friendly, and it's a real blast when we can do that, and when you guys get to contribute to the show. So live chat is wide open. So if you want me to tackle a specific topic, jump on in there. If you want me to, if you want to make a comment on something that I've said, jump right on in, and do it. Do it. It's open. Super chats are also open. So if you want to make sure that your comment gets read by me on the show, drop a super chat. It helps us out big time in order to kind of keep One True Sport going, and again, get it in front of more people. So give it a go. Super chat is there. Any contribution amount helps greatly. So thank you in advance for that. If you haven't been to OneTrueSport.com, we've got a merch store there ready and waiting for you. All sorts of different merch from all of the different wrestling legends that we work with on a regular basis. Also some really cool One True Sport brand merch, and some 1TS Daily merch as well. So who doesn't want a little 1TS Daily merch, right? Get your hat on or a shirt, something like that. And as I've said before, if you guys wear your 1TS Daily merch out into the wild somewhere, take a picture, hashtag 1TS Daily, and you will get a prize, a special prize from the show. So let's get it done. Cool. All right. So we've got quite a bit to get to today. But first, let's talk Adam Cole, because Adam Cole did an exclusive interview with Sports Illustrated yesterday, and some really interesting nuggets and pieces like kind of came out of that. The one being Cole's injury, and Adam Cole talked to Sports Illustrated about that injury and about what happened and about why it took so long for him to come back from what seemed just like a regular old just kind of ankle injury. Even if it was like a broken ankle or a shattered ankle, he really took a long time to recover, and it kind of made you question like what's going on, what's taken so long. And Cole responded to that, and he said, the first piece of news that I heard was your ankle is way worse than we anticipated. This is Cole speaking to Sports Illustrated. This is the takedown once again. He says that you have to get another surgery in 7 days. So not only did I have to get double the amount of screws in my ankle, but I also had to get someone else's bone put into my ankle, because the bone piece within my ankle just completely disintegrated. Incredibly thankful to the donor and the family. It's certainly a better option. I definitely noticed a difference in my left ankle as opposed to my right one, but I think that comes with the territory. He went on to say, I still feel like I can be Adam Cole and do the things that I want to do, and I'm certainly not even close to wanting to be done with pro wrestling. So there you go. Man, that's a crazy injury. Right? Like disintegrating bones. And like, remember, all he did was kind of jump off the stage. Now it's a relatively high stage, but this is a top tier athlete at the time. And so it's like, dang, crazy. So like that was really interesting to hear that's what it was. And I think it answers a lot of questions as to why he was gone for as long as he was. This again, significant injury, and he's back now. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I don't know what Adam Cole's place is in AEW anymore. I mean, he's a guy that when he came into the company, to me, he had all the makings of somebody that you could just plop the company right on his shoulders and go. You've had various independent promotions do just that, notably Ring of Honor. Man, I mean, that guy carried that company for a long time, 3-time ROH world champion. And, I think when NXT, same thing, long run in NXT at the top with the title, Undisputed Era, like that's there. And then, so he comes to AEW and you're like, okay, great. Like this is a guy that's got experience. He's got charisma. He's got star power. He can work in the ring. I mean, he really has like he checks all the boxes for AEW in particular because that work rate is so important in that company. And then he just kind of faded away, and it's not that he wasn't in big matches. He had some big matches. He had some big matches against Orange Cassidy. He had some big matches against Adam Page. He of course had the stuff with MJF, but it felt like kind of like that alpha, kind of nature of him faded away. He came in, he immediately kind of went with the Young Bucks and did his thing with them. And then he had, the Undisputed Kingdom stuff, and he was kind of locked in with MJF. So he never really like stood on his own, and he didn't really do that in NXT either. He had Undisputed Era there. But just makes you wonder, or at least makes me wonder, like, what is his ceiling now in AEW now that he's back? Like, is he going to be a guy that you can put the company on? Is he even like a top 5 star when you look at the star power that they have now? When you've got Will Ospreay and you've got Swerve Strickland and you've got MJF and you've got Adam Page and you've got Jon Moxley, like all of a sudden the big get Adam Cole is, not at the tip top of that list. And I think he's going to have to work really, really hard to get back to where he was. And I hope he does. And I think he's talented enough to do it, but you add up, just the changing landscape in AEW, and you toss in the injuries, that Adam Cole had. Even aside from the ankle he had, was just terrible concussion issues, a couple years ago too. And, it just made for just a really rough go for him. And, he's just kind of playing behind the 8 ball. So I don't know, just on the mind. And when I read this interview, which you can find again on Sports Illustrated, it's the Takedown, it just kind of just really stuck out to me like, whoa, this is a thing. This is a thing. And it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Cole can overcome. And, we will see. He's embroiled, as we know, in a big feud with MJF right now. But, that hasn't always proved to be fruitful if you're Cole. Like the MJF stuff really kind of hurt him, I think, and hurt some of that vibe that we're talking about. What do you think? What's your comment? What do you think about Adam Cole? Like, am I over dramatizing this? Are you in the same boat? Let's hear it. Let's hear it in the live chat. David is back. Holy moly. David says, hey, Zach, how we doing, my man? Dude, how are you doing, man? I know you had some back surgery. If I remember correctly, that's what was on tap. And I hope that you are okay. And I hope that you're in recovery. And I hope that things are turning the corner. I can speak from experience. I've had back surgery as well, man. And boy, when you're in it, it's tough. But as you start to come out of it, you start to feel really great. And so hopefully, man, you're at that point. hopefully you're all good. Another 1TS family member there. So hopefully you're good. He says you're finally starting to feel a little bit better. Thanks, dude. Yeah, man. Cheers to you. Andrew is in the chat talking to Adam Cole and says he needs to go to WWE. That's what needs to happen with Adam Cole. So that's another good question, Andrew, because, and I'm going to leave this up there, he needs to go to WWE, and that's in regards to Adam Cole. He does, I think, and I think he likely will, when the time comes. I totally can see him back there. But part of me, it's I think he's in the same spot, when he goes back to WWE. I mean, is he somebody that you're going to put ahead of Trick Williams at this point? If he goes into NXT, you've kind of been there, done that with his NXT run. So he's got to go to the main roster. And if he goes to the main roster, then he's really behind. I mean, he's behind, on Raw, he's behind Seth, he's behind Gunther, probably behind Sammy, probably behind Bronson Reed, behind Braun Breaker, right? And then behind Jey Uso, and then on SmackDown, same thing. He's behind Cody Rhodes, he's behind LA Knight. It's just, he's going to have to work hard to kind of get that spot back. Cause I think, again, the landscape's changed in WWE since he left there too. But he is a Triple H guy. He's a Shawn Michaels guy. So that politically could help him without question. But I think that needs to be what happens to him too. And again, if I were a betting man, well, I am a betting man, but not on this type of thing. I would say that, hey, Cole likely ends up back in WWE or NXT at some point. Cool. Let's hit a couple other news points here before we kind of preview tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. The Continental Classic is going to begin on November 27th. That's the night before Thanksgiving. Mark Briscoe, in an interview, confirmed with Foundation Radio, confirmed that would be the case. Obviously, he's looking to win it. But so that tournament is coming back. Remember, that's the round robin tournament that kind of works exactly like the G1 does. Last year, the finals wrapped up at World's End, and that's the December pay-per-view. Last year, though, you had the ROH World Title, the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship, and the AEW Continental Championship on the line in this tournament. Is it just for the Continental Championship? Is it for something else? Real interesting to see what they do from a stakes standpoint. And with this tournament, I hope that they kind of treat it more like the G1. Last year's tournament from a wrestling perspective was fine. Good even. But Jay Lethal was in the tournament. So that tells you all you need to know. I think in the G1, what makes the G1 so great is that you've got all the top stars in it, all of them. Every top heavyweight in New Japan Pro Wrestling is in that tournament that is available. And that's how you got to treat this one. I think that's how you have to treat this. So, you got to have Moxley in there. You got to have Ospreay in there. You got to have Swerve in there. MJF, I think you just want to load it up. I think that could be very compelling week in and week out, not just for Dynamite, but for Collision too. And so, I hope they put some oomph behind it. They very much padded the two leagues last year with guys that you knew were going to lose. And it made for some yawner matches. And I don't think you want that. That's not what makes the G1 fun. The G1 is fun because you get to see top guys going up against each other. King Morgan, excuse me. I also said Moran. King Morgan says, this is fun talking about wrestling. Heck yeah, man. It is fun. And we are here every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right here. 1TS Daily. You can subscribe on YouTube to the One True Sport YouTube channel. And you can find us every day right here. Talking the news of the day in professional wrestling and talking and previewing and reviewing shows, which we'll do in a minute for AEW Dynamite. Thanks, King Morgan. Matthew says, let's go. Top of the morning. Good morning, Matthew. Thanks for joining us, man. Glad to see you here live. Also, always glad to see you live here. In regards to, let's see, King Morgan says, wonderful, I subscribed. Wrestling is in my nature. Good, man. I'm glad you subscribed. Hopefully you can join more often. The boss is in the live chat this morning and says, Eddie got his breakout moment winning that tournament. Who could use that same momentum minus holding the 3 titles? Boy, that's a good question. Let's see here. Let's break this thing down. Eddie did get kind of elevated, and he got that big win over Bryan Danielson, which was kind of a key storyline element of the tournament last year. I mean, in terms of like who could use that momentum, I think there's two names that stick out to me. One of them is the guy we just talked about, Adam Cole. I think Adam Cole, could use like a jolt, something like that, and to prove a couple things. Number one, that he can still go and have really good matches. I mean, I think that is key, to the AEW audience in particular. You want to show that. But the other thing is that like he needs some strong booking behind him. It's been a while, so this gets him wins. It gets him wins over top stars. So that's one name. The other name that comes into my head for a lot of the same reasons is Jay White. I think, Jay White just beat Adam Page at Wrestle Dream. He's going to have a rematch there, of course. And that to me is looking like a 3-match feud. But it seems like Tony Khan this year has been more in the Jay White business, if you will. Not this year, but since Jay White has come back from injury, gotten a little bit of a push, going with him as a babyface. So it seems like there's a renewed investment in, hey, let's get more out of this guy, which is obvious. You signed him for a reason. And so I would, think that that's a good play for him to kind of win this tournament, have really good matches in it, and then go from there. So those would be the 2 names that I would say, boss. Andrew says, I can go the rest of my life without seeing Eddie Kingston throw a chop. Yeah, honestly, I'm with you. We've seen that match over and over and over and over and over and over. And I think that there's people in the world that have that match better than Eddie Kingston does at this point. And change it up. I'm with you. All right. Let's see. Any other news that I wanted to get to? No, I think we're good. I think we're good here. Tonight, AEW Dynamite. They are advertising quite a bit for the show. The card looks like this. We've got a ladder war for the ROH World Championship. Mark Briscoe defending against Chris Jericho. The Elite will take on Daniel Garcia and Private Party. Sammy Guevara is going to wrestle Shelton Benjamin. Camille is going to take on Queen Aminata. They're plugging a House of Black match, probably looking at a squash there, I would imagine. And then Hook is going to confront his father's attacker. Is that going to be Christian Cage? Is that going to be somebody else? What do you think? And then Kyle Fletcher is going to talk and speak about why he turned on Will Ospreay at Wrestle Dream to join, or not join, but like re-solidify himself. Let's put it that way in the Don Callis family. So that's the card. Also, kind of on top of the card here is AEW World Champion Jon Moxley is going to appear. Now, we talked in depth on yesterday's show about whether or not it makes sense to hype Moxley the way that they are here. I don't think it does. I think it kind of runs counter to the overall story. We don't need to relitigate that, but he is going to appear. And so it begs the question, like, what's he going to say? What's he going to say? What's he going to do? I think, we get a promo from him. I'd like to see some definition. Like, what is this whole thing about? Okay, don't leave it as open-ended as like, hey, you all work for me now. What does it mean? What do you mean? What are you trying to do? I think that will help. That will help this. I also hope that they can kind of solidify some like real baby faces that can go up against them, not, Dark Order, like some real, credible baby faces. I think that matters here. So we'll see, but it's a big night for Moxley in this angle. You have to make this work. It's a big angle. And so you got to have good chapters, one after the next, after the next, after the next. And this is an important one, especially because they are putting so much hype behind it. Andrew says they put it on top of the graphic. I know. You mentioned this to me on social media, but yeah, they're trolling me with this. It's like they're listening to the show and going, how can we annoy Zach even more so that he keeps talking about it on 1TS Daily? Yeah, they are. They're trolling me. They're trolling me. Maddie is in the chat. Boy, Maddie says, "Yo, bro, I'm randomly awake. Dude, it's been a while. Where you been? Man? Glad you're here. But hopefully you can come back and keep watching us live. We miss you. We miss you, man." Okay, so that's Mox. Tonight, the ladder war between Chris Jericho and Mark Briscoe. I don't know, guys. I got a funny feeling about this. I have a funny feeling that Chris Jericho wins this title. And I wish that wasn't the case. But it seems to me like they may be trying to get the title on Jericho so that they can kind of draw a big pay-per-view or a big-ish pay-per-view for Final Battle, which is the ROH pay-per-view in December. Jericho would help that. Mark Briscoe chasing would help that as the babyface. But fundamentally, I'm not a fan of just ROH being in this spot. Like, I think it hurts everything, to have these guys wrestling for the ROH World Championship when the ROH World Championship just means nothing. It just doesn't mean anything. It's superfluous with the AEW World Championship and the 3 other men's singles titles that are around in AEW. You don't need it. And so the match was probably going to be fine. I think Jericho, is almost better suited for matches like this because he doesn't have to he has to take bumps, but he doesn't have to be a smooth operator in the ring. It's very spot-based stuff. And I think, that could be something that benefits him and makes the match better. Also looking forward to seeing Sammy Guevara and Shelton Benjamin. I think the push for Shelton Benjamin is still on. And I think he's still going to get some W's here because he does have Swerve coming up. And he's going to have that match in a couple weeks or in a week, I guess. So clearly they're going to put Shelton Benjamin over here. Will we see Bobby Lashley? I think no, not this week. I think we're looking at next week. I think we're looking at next week for a Lashley appearance. It's got the special Halloween theme to it, and Swerve is actually going to be there. He's going to be wrestling Shelton Benjamin. So my guess is we do get a Lashley appearance, but it won't be until next week. So no, I wouldn't be tuning in tonight hoping to see Bobby Lashley. Camille versus Queen Aminata, more Mercedes Moné stuff there. I continue to be just baffled by what they're doing with Mercedes Moné. Still nothing going on. I think she's going to be on the show tonight, but in the corner of Camille, it's all right, well then what? Get her in a feud already. Where's Jamie Hayter? That's a perfect feud. It's fresh. 2 great workers. It makes sense. It makes sense. Get her involved in something. It's crazy that she's not, and that she's not a focus. And it's wild. It's wild. Any predictions on who Hook's attacker is? Is it the obvious? Is it Christian? It probably should be, right? I mean, I think that makes the most sense, given what Christian kind of has turned into with the guy who's trolling everybody's dads. So it makes perfect sense to me for this to be the guy. Oh, Nigel, that's an interesting twist. It could be Nigel. Boy, Hook versus Nigel McGuinness isn't a match that I had on my bingo card for 2024. That's for sure. But I think it's going to be Christian. I think that's the play. That's a good feud for Hook. I think Hook is I think he can pull off this kind of feud and this kind of match. Christian's a pro and he'll sell for Hook. I think Hook can, play passion well, and especially when it comes to his family. I think he'll be able to kind of articulate that emotion fine. So I'm here for this. It's a mid-card level thing, but yeah, that's that. Let's take a look here, and let's take a look and review. Let's review last night's episode of NXT, just so we're completists here, and we'll finish up with that. Damage Control versus Metaphor. So it was Io Sky and Kairi Sane against Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson opened the show. Metaphor defeated Damage Control via a disqualification. We got an appearance from Piper Niven. We got an appearance from I'm trying to think here. Was Chelsea Green? No, Chelsea Green was not with them until after the match. After the match, Chelsea Green showed up. So so Metaphor beat Damage Control. It looks to me like they're setting up a multiple person tag team match for Crown Jewel. So there you go. Pretty typical Crown Jewel style match there. Jada Parker wrestled Tatum Paxley. Parker beat Paxley straight up via pin in about 4 minutes, and all this is credit to Pro Wrestling Net. Jason does some really great work over there. Head over there. You won't be disappointed. Obafemi faced off against Luca Crucifino. This is ahead of his title defense at Halloween Havoc against Tony D'Angelo for the North American Championship. Or excuse me, not title defense, title challenge. Femi defeated Luca Crucifino via pinfall, straight up, almost like, essentially a squash match, essentially a squash match. They had an in-ring promo segment between Trick Williams and Ethan Page. Those two will be tangling for the NXT Championship at Halloween Havoc. Pretty good segment there. Sol Ruka wrestled Carmen Petrovic. Ruka beat Petrovic in about 4 minutes. From there, Out the Mud wrestled Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. You had Tank Ledger and Hank Walker win. OTM is in the mud, not out the mud. They're in the mud. Okay, they had Cole Custer on the show for promotional purposes. He's a NASCAR driver. If you're a NASCAR fan, nothing wrong with that. Kalani Jordan wrestled one member of Fatal Influence. That was announced for Halloween Havoc, so Kalani Jordan will be wrestling and defending her Women's North American Championship on the show. From there, Julia and Stephanie Vaquer faced Fatal Influence, and it was Fallon Henley and JC Jane that took them out. Vaquer and Julia defeated Fatal Influence. Good match. I thought it was it got the time that it needed. We also had an appearance by Zarya on the show, and this was a woman who's been teased for a very long time with vignettes, and so this is a good get for NXT. Zarya is a top talent. I think she's a talent that looks different. She brings something different to the table, and I think she can help freshen up the NXT women's division, which by the week becomes stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. I think that she's just a good person to have on the roster, and I think just like Julia, just like Stephanie Vaquer, just like Roxanne Perez, Zarya is going to be a player on the main roster one of these days. So good on her. But that's NXT. We will preview Halloween Havoc, which is a PLE that's taking place this weekend, and so we will make sure to do that on Friday. So Friday we got 2 preview shows to do. We're going to do Halloween Havoc, and then we're going to do Bound for Glory, both of which are this weekend. Cool. Let's see here. The boss says here, when Ethan Page goes to the main roster, how far up the ladder can he go? I like his work, but I don't see him in world title contention. Yeah, I don't either. Definitely not. I think a high point for him would be like LA Knight. Like, I think that's like his ceiling. I don't think he can get much higher than that. And I wouldn't bet that he even gets there, but I think absolutely that's like the high end of where he can go. My guess is he just kind of falls in kind of like carrying Cross, like we're carrying crosses. I think that's probably a fair realization of his full potential, would be something at at that level. Does that answer your question, the boss? Hopefully. Andrew says IC title. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think that might even be a little bit high for him at this point. That IC title is getting a lot of focus, and I just don't. I don't see him at that level. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Great show. Thanks for everybody who tuned in. If you're new to the show, we're here every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for about 25 to 30 minutes, just talking the news of the day in wrestling, talking a little wrestling. This is 1TS Daily. You can find us here live at One True Sport YouTube channel. Hit subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything and so you are notified when we go live. If you can, help me out. Hit that like button right now. Helps us out in the YouTube world. So thank you in advance for that. And thank you for being here. If you want to check out more of my work, head over to Brass Ring Media. Boop. That is my shop. We do all sorts of long form kind of coverage and analysis of pro wrestling. We're live on the YouTube channel almost every day of the week. You can download those shows that we do live on YouTube as podcasts for free if you miss them on YouTube. So subscribe on YouTube and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Just search Brass Ring Media there, and you can find us. We are also on Substack. That's where our written work is done. Long form features and editorials and show reviews are all there. I read a ton there. So if you want to, check out my written work, definitely do that. Just search Substack, Brass Ring Media, or Brass Ring Media Substack in Google, and we'll come up. Totally free to subscribe. Obviously, you can throw us a couple dollars in the tip jar if you feel like it and you're able, but you can subscribe for free and get all the content that we do. And I hope you decide to take me up on that. Cool. I hope everybody has a wonderful Wednesday. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll talk a little Dynamite and who knows what the heck else. It's 1TS Daily. It's One True Sport. I'm Zack Heydorn. Talk to you soon. See ya.